Hey my friends, this is the ZT0180. It is a very expensive but fairly indestructible and highly capable fixed blade knife. But it is very expensive. So 300 Australian buckaroos you'll pay for this blade, and it's not huge. It is the size of a Volkniven F1, maybe slightly bigger. That's next to a Benchmade 940. This is it next to a CRKT M16 SF, like the big dog one. That's it next to a Cold Steel Kobon Tanto, which has a 5-inch blade, just for some perspective there. This is it next to a standard Victorinox, I think Swiss Champ, I think that one is. This is next to another Hindra knife, another ZT Hindra knife. You see the same kind of design, language, that's a wanky term, but you see the same little things from Hindra, blades and handles and materials used and whatnot. So a pretty good comparison knife for this one is the Gerber Strongarm. So the Gerber Strongarm is like another use it for anything kind of knife. It's mainly combat focused. It's sold with a combat mindset, sort of, if you understand what I'm saying. It's the photos of both of these guys on the website will have like either a policeman with it in his LBE looking away from the camera and holding it to the side, or they'll be in some khaki or camo coloured army dude's vest. That's how they sell these knives, and they're sort of marketed as a do anything sort of durability over all else kind of thing. On the other end of the scale, this is next to a LT Wright Outback, which is a also similar size knife with a similar purpose as well, just a overall durable multitasking camp knife. So I guess you could use this knife really for either task, but it's advertised as more of a combat utility or a first responder type. I'm not going to say sharpened pry bar, but getting there as in a hyper durable, not particularly intricate use fixed blade knife. The blade is made of Vanitas Force steel, and that is where a lot of your $300 is going. It's a full tang slab of one of these sort of cutting edge steels. Bad pun. One of the very up and coming sort of tough super steels, I guess you would say. And yeah, super steels is a bit of a, it's a lot of hype there. And the name Vanitas 4 Extra, I mean, wow, that's pretty jazzy. So they're obviously very proud of this steel, and they do charge a premium for it. From what I can tell, there's 3V, which is a powdered sort of tool steel, mainly geared at toughness, but with good edge retention. This one is mainly geared at edge retention, but with good toughness, kind of like maybe M4 or something similar in how it performs, not in how it's made. It's going to rust on you, which is why it is very well, might add, DLC coated. It's tricky to sharpen as well. I'll talk about my sharpening experience with it later. The handles are G10 slab handles with screws on them. You can see the tang going all the way through there. G10, not super expensive, but definitely the price point is in the steel, and who are we kidding, in the brand, really. So this is that DLC coating I was just talking about. You can see the various surfaces of the blade. It's a saber grind with a flat and then with a swedge. The DLC coating, it's been somewhat affected by like acids from wood and food and things that I've been cutting, but it's not chipped off and it's not really faded off like, say, my Ka-Bar BK7 or a lot of Cold Steel, more painted knives. It's kind of fading nicely, which is exactly what you want. Very similar to the Mora Bushcraft Black. From the factory, the edge is sharp. It pops hairs and it did all that cool stuff, but it was a bit broad. I would probably find the best words for describing it would be, broad. It cut and cut and cut. It retained a good working edge for a long, long time, but that was really all it was, a good working edge. I did my steel testing with this one. I put a convex, micro-convex 20 degree on each side with it, and that made it slice a little bit better, and it did very well in my cutting test. It did a bit better than 3V in edge retention. But I then took it to a Tormek, and yes, it took some time. And it was a bit of an ordeal, to be honest. I haven't really had problems on the Tormek with much, but this one did take a little while. It probably took about twice as long as like S30V or even a bit longer than like M4 to sharpen. It's tough stuff and it's hard stuff. I think they're running it at about 61 or so on the Rockwell scale here. And once I did have a fantastic edge on it, it has just so far improved how it does this fine carving. I don't know if you can tell on this feather stick, but it's better than the last one. So looking at these two grinds, this is a bit of a thicker and lower sabre grind. So you'll see here when I'm cutting with the Outback, which had a nice high sabre, which was thin behind the edge, it makes quite neat and very keen slices in this apple. And apple is a great way of testing a slicing factor of a blade. It makes the cuts neatly, it doesn't chunk the apple away at the bottom, it doesn't crumble away, anything like that. It's about as clean as you get from a relatively thick knife. I know I'm comparing apples to potatoes, but here these potatoes kind of get a bit cracked open rather than cut open. So there you go. This is getting more and more sus as it goes on. Yeah. But you can certainly get performance out of this steel. Just need to put a little bit of a higher edge on it is what I found. And so here you see I'm shaving little thin bits off of potatoes without worrying at all. And it does it really easily now. Just a shame that ZT wasn't either confident enough, or I prefer it to be slicier than able to be stabbed into a car hood without any chance of it rolling. That's just me. What this grind does do is split like crazy. It's really, really good, nice thick. It's got good flat shoulders at the top of that sabre, and the wood just flies apart with no worries at all, and really highly enjoyable. Now look at that, bam, straight down that. That's hard redwood. The sheath is just a strange choice, to be honest. It is a generic sheath, as in you can just buy these sheaths for, this is like the 4-inch knife sheath from this sheath company. It's a good American sheath company, and it's about as good as you can get a nylon sheath. But yeah, just strange that they've gone with this option rather than like super cool Kydex or something similar to that, especially when it is so first respondery. I don't know, maybe they think that black nylon is more first responder tactical than Kydex, who knows. It's got an adjustable strap, it's got a front pocket that you can fit various things in, it's got paracord wrapped all around it. See, here's a Swiss champ going into that front pocket. That's probably a cool thing to roll around with, this big knife and a Swiss champ. You get a lot of work done with those two things. That's a paracord fob thing that just hangs on the back. I guess you could untie that if you had an urge for, well, it's not paracord, it's like shoelace kind of material. If you had an urge to use that for something, I guess you've got some rope on your sheath as well. So getting towards mini survival kit territory, I guess. That's kind of cool. Maybe I'll do a video on how much cool survival gear I can stick in this knife. It's not a bad idea. If you like that, just hit the thumbs up. That's a cheap way to farm likes, isn't it? Anyway, again brings me back to the Gerber Strong Arm though. The Gerber Strong Arm has this awesome, and this is a third of the price, remember. Steel's obviously way, way, way inferior, but it's got this awesome sheath, and it's also a really well-made knife. And I guess the thing is, do you really care about having your tough steel have an edge of the last ages, or do you just want tough steel? That's the Cold Steel Coben Tanto. Again, that's got a good sheath as well. Just nice, simple, friction fit Kydex. But yeah, back to the Strong Arm. It's probably got about the same level of comfort. This one a little less comfortable maybe. Just those 3 screws, a little bit of wear on that finger when you use it for ages. Overall, the hammer grip is comfortable though. I was uncomfortable when I was doing my rope cutting test. So that was like a weird sort of fine slicing kind of grip that I was doing when I was cutting the rope. And that kind of sucked, I must admit. And it wasn't a pleasant knife to do the rope cut test with. But since I've been using it in just the hammer grip, I've had no worries at all. I actually do find it quite comfortable except for that screw. So what do you reckon? I think really it's one of those, it is successful at being one of those do-all knives. It'll do all the jobs that a well-respecting Western first responder might need to do. Cut rope, cut cardboard, shave wood, cut food, cut potatoes, cut pickles, kill dictators, destroy despots, solve all sorts of other modern Western problems of various kinds and manners. Anyway, yeah, it is really, really good, and it is really, really undeniably well made with great materials. But the Strong Arm is $100, and this is $300. These are Australian prices, by the way. I think probably in America it's about $180. The Strong Arm is probably $60. Probably about the same scale anyway. And really, unless you really need your steel to last a long, long time, which is a great thing, and you may just like the look of this knife, and you know what? There's nothing wrong with getting a knife just because you like how it looks. I think this is one of the coolest looking fixed blades I've ever seen. So that's why I like it and why I enjoy it. I'm not ashamed of that. But yeah, the Strong Arm probably is all a knife you actually need unless you really are doing some heavy abrasives with your knife. They've both got saber kind of grinds. They've both got the polymer style handles. This one is slab, of course, but really, and they're both more or less, they feel indestructible. I think this one obviously has the better steel, the better look. Hey, it's a factor. And the Gerber Strongarm probably has the better sheath. They'll both do the jobs about as well as each other. If you tweak the grind and whatnot, that's up to you. It's how knife guys will make the knives how they want them to be. It's $200 though, and you really, if I'm going to give you practical advice, the Strongarm for your drop a bomb on it, do everything, multi-tool kind of keep in the car or keep in your LBE if you're a policeman or your army soldier vest gear. It probably is about as good as you actually need. Just this one has that extra thing of knowing you've got really cool steel and a really cool look and probably a little bit of extra durability. So overall, it's good, but it is just so expensive and it is hard to get past that. So, I enjoy it. I think you would enjoy it if you had this knife with money being no object, but I can't in good conscience tell you that it's going to perform a million times better than the Strongarm in terms of actually doing the jobs. Just when it comes to that frequency of sharpening, that's when it's going to probably lap it a few times. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye now.